The Canadian Tulip Festival is proud to present Dutch Folktales. Today's story is Prince Spinhead and Miss Snow White. Long, long ago, there was a sweet child named Bundlekin. She had 4 brothers who loved their younger sister very dearly and did everything they could to make her happy. Her father was a famous hunter who roamed the woods. Her mother was a dressmaker known far and wide for her skill and artistry. In winter, in her white forest robes, Bundlekin seemed as if she might have been born of the snow or a daughter of the northern ice god. Because of this, her parents changed her name and called her Drifa, which means Snow White. No other girl in Gelderland equaled or excelled Snow White in beauty of face or sweetness of spirit. When she came of age, many lovers came to her with offers of marriage. Some brought the finest furs found in the forest. Others carried bags of precious gems, all of which they offered to Snow White. But this was all in vain. Every lover went away sorrowful, for Snow White sent each one home. Last of all came a strange-looking creature named Spinhead. He resembled a spider. He promised Snow White a secret that would change the world if only she would agree to be his wife. Before Snow White could answer, her mother, upon seeing the ugly creature, drove poor Spinhead off with a broom and harsh words. So, the months and years passed. One day, when all the household was asleep, the leaves of the oak tree rustled loudly, even though there was no wind. Well, Snow White woke and strained her ears. She could soon make out these words. When the creature that you call Spinhead comes to you, listen to him. He is the wisest being in all the forest. Then the leaves of the oak ceased to rustle, and all was still again. While she was wondering what this message could mean, down came the creature called Spinhead. He lowered himself from a tree branch on a silken thread. "I came to offer you my love," said Spinhead. "You need not marry me now, but if you will let me spin a web in your room, I shall live there, and by reward you. Let me be at your side always, and you will not be sorry for it." Well, the maiden had no sooner agreed than a terrible tempest uprooted the oak and leveled the trees of the forest. In a moment more, a beautiful house rose up out of the ground. Nearby was a garden, and out of it sprang a blue flower almost under her feet. "Choose the best room for yourself," said Spinhead, "and then leave a corner for me. After 100 days, if you treat me kindly, I shall reveal the secret of that blue flower." Snow White chose the sunniest room, and Spinhead settled into a corner near the window and close to the ceiling. At once, he began to weave a shining web for his own house. It was then that Snow White noticed that her room was not furnished. There was not even a bed to sleep on. Spinhead looked at her closely. "Ah, you want a bed and pretty things for your room." In another moment, soft furs lined the floor, and all that Snow White had possessed in the forest, she had now. In a few minutes, she was fast asleep. The 100 days passed swiftly by, and Spinhead and Snow White became fast friends. One day, when autumn had come and she was lonely, she ventured out into the garden. A chill wind was blowing, and the leaves were falling so heavily that they covered the ground like a yellow carpet. The lovely blue flower had long ago faded away, and there was nothing in its place but a hard, rough black stalk. "Is there anything in this ugly stick?" she wondered to herself. "Perhaps I should keep it, just in case." And so she did. Again, the tempest howled. All the winds of heaven seemed to have broken loose. The leaves darkened the air so that Snow White could see nothing. Then there came a great calm. And when at last the leaves cleared, there beside her stood a youth, more beautiful than any man she had ever seen. He was dressed in fine white clothing, softer than the skin of any animal in the forest. In his hand he held the black stalk of what had once been the blue flower. "It is I, Spinhead," he said. "The 100 days are over. The spell is broken, and my deliverance from enchantment has come. I bring to you, as my gift, this ugly stalk on which the blue flower bloomed." Well, Snow White was speechless. She could hardly draw a breath. "Break it open," said Spinhead. Splitting the stalk from end to end, the maiden was surprised to find inside many long, silky fibers, as fine as the strands of a spider's web. "Plant the seeds, and let the blue flowers blossom by the million," said the youth. "Then gather the stalks and weave the fibers together like this." Separating the delicate strands one by one, Spinhead wove them together, and the result was a rich robe of a snow-white fabric never before seen in the forest. It was linen. Oh, Snow White clapped her hands with joy. "'Tis for your wedding dress, if you will marry me," said Spinhead. Snow White's cheeks blushed red. She looked at him, and her eyes said yes. Happily married, they left the forest and traveled into the land where the blue flowers, which were called flax, made a new sky of the earth. And forever after, the folk of that land wove and wore the soft white fabric known as linen, and they were glad of it indeed.